Young living every day, giving it to you and cutting straight. Now listen, if this your first time watching my video and you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, look man, take a second, scroll down, click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. On the road to 1K subscribers. I appreciate that. Now moving forward, man, today, man, this is about shout out to Pearly Things, man, her podcast. She is able to get Andrew Tate on there and Brittany Renner. You know, I got a few clips. I couldn't get the whole thing, y'all. But let's dive into it.
No, but the women are the ones that are delusional.
There's regular men out there. There's regular men out there.
Chris Hemsworth.
There's regular men out there that will have you
Yeah,
down.
but can I just say, people are watching Tate, not understanding that Tate is part of that 1% of success, and they think that they can demand the same thing. No, they can demand purity.
One second. Sorry. I understand the point you're all making, but let's understand something. To the sexual marketplace, females have always been, and still to a degree, are the gatekeepers. It's men will, you can think about it in a very simplistic way. This is not the case, but let's simplify it for the sake of argument. Imagine men will run around and fuck anything, and women are the ones who say yes or no. You are the gatekeepers that have all the power. And this is what's actually truly interesting about the sexual marketplace, because whenever women go, there's not enough good men, then why you fucking, of course, why would they be good if you don't make them be good? You're fucking losers.
That's a good point.
So women, so you're talking about, I'm saying that, you know, a man at a certain level can't do certain things. If you were with Joe Schmo and he wasn't treating you the way you believe Joe Schmo should treat you, then why are you with him?
Leave. Sis, leave.
Like women have the gatekeeping. So if you get Joe Schmo and he treats you like you're his queen and treats you perfect, good. If you get a fucking guy at the absolute upper echelons of value and you still aren't happy with what he's giving you, then leave. Women are the gatekeepers. You women actually have all of the power. This is what's beautiful about the whole thing. Yeah. Women are constantly complaining. You have all the power. You're the ones who get to choose. Do you know who you should be mad at for all this shit? I'll tell you who you should be mad at. Do you know who threw away all the female power in the sexual marketplace? Promiscuous females. Because now you got chicks who will bang anybody without trying. So why should a dude get up and try?
No,
Do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be, let me make this clear.
Go on, sir.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be, no bullshit, a man?
They have absolutely no idea how hard it is. And the thing about it is they don't care. They don't even care to understand. It's just an automatic innate need to take up for women. They don't care what men go through. They have no empathy at all, no sympathy at all. But let's continue.
And I say this and women go, oh yeah, I do that. As soon as most women encounter any kind of problem, the first thing they do is turn to a man. Their man, their dad, the mechanic, the police, a man. If you actually put a woman in front of a problem and go, no men, they're like, oh, whoa, fuck. It's a mental breakdown. Men, day after day, especially if you're a high-level man, let me make it something clear from my life. I'll talk from personal experience. I'm not just looking after me. I'm not just looking after my chick. I'm the guy in about 300 people's phone books that they call when anything big goes wrong. You get arrested in Russia, you need extraction from Ukraine, you need $1 million, whatever it is, Kazakhstan, abduction, they call me. I'm the first phone call. I'm fixing 400 different lives. I'm a problem solver. Chicks can't fix fucking any of this shit, right? This is how hard it is to be a man. And it's amazing because society expects it of you, but so do women. If you had a man, be honest, you had a man and you went to your man and said, oh, I've got this problem. I can't fix this. It's broken. The car tire's broken. And he went, I don't know. You would dry up. Like, you'd be like, well, fuck it. What the fucking point are you? That's the truth. You could sit here and go, oh, we'd call a mechanic. No, you wouldn't. You'd look at your man and go, what do you mean you can't fix it?
I'll do it myself. Waste man.
And this is what she's saying about your man will get up and go. And you know what's beautiful about masculinity? A bunch of times a man will go up and he doesn't have a clue how to fix it himself. But he'll go, don't worry, baby, okay. And he'll stand up with no money and no clue. And he'll go out there and fucking try and find a way because as a man, you need to be useful. It is so difficult to be a man. You have no idea the amount of pressure that we're under from society and from the women we even want to associate with. On a whole, it's difficult. So you have to keep all these things in mind. It's hard.
But can I ask you a question? You see what you just said about, the top G, that if they had money, you can fly planes and fly that. Drop it down to if you were earning, like, say, $50,000 a year.
Yep.
Couldn't you be that same person amongst your peers?
100% you could.
That's what I'm trying to say.
100% you could. And also you have to...
money doesn't make you a top G.
No, money's an amplifier. So that's the first thing about money. Money amplifies. Men can make money. Money does not make men. If you're a dork and you get rich, you're a rich dork. If you're a G and you get rich, you're a top G, right? So that's the first thing about money. And I agree with you. But traditionally, and this is the baseline, and once again, when I say these things, I'm not looking to be attacked for being misogynist. I'm just commenting on how I view the world and how I see things. Traditionally, a man primarily gives his attention to a female to get sex, and she gives him sex back to get the attention. That's the swap, right? So if I'm a dude and I want sex from a girl, I give her attention, I talk to her, I hang out with her, I spend time with her, eventually I get the sex. That's how it works. But the higher value you are as a man, the more valuable your attention is, the more valuable your time is, the less you have to give. It's like potency, right? So I can give 5 minutes to a chick, and that's worth 2 weeks of some other dude's time. But that's the reality. So where you are on the scale is just basically how much of your time you have to give. Now, you can still give all your time to a woman, treat her like a queen, be respected by your peers. She can be happy with you. I'm not saying she will be any. In fact, I'll argue she'll be happier with that man than she'll be with a fucking guy like me. I'm not even out here saying I'll make chicks happy. I'm like,
and that's what I always tell you guys, man. That's another thing that I always say. Notice, he said what might take most guys 2 weeks, he can do in what? 5 minutes. That's what I'm trying to say. When you build yourself up, become the best version of yourself, and they got that organic, genuine desire for you, then you get that kind of vibe. Where it would took another dude 2 weeks, it take you 5 minutes. You see what I'm saying? Because you're on a certain level, and on top of that, they desire you. But let's continue.
Been saying that. I'm saying that she'll get the amount of time that she's going to want from that man. The amount of attention is linked to his status. But at a true high-level status of man, it's 2 DMs. Boom, boom. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Done.
This kind of leads into my next question. Do women prefer to be monogamous with a low-value man or share a high-value man?
Well, look at society, and you tell me.
Monogamous. Ask me.
Wait, so let's ask the single ladies. What would you prefer?
I would prefer someone who's monogamous. I left a situation where I got the Bentley, I had all that, I had the kids, I had that. That was great. I want a companion. I want real love. And to me, what monogamy means to me is someone who's committed to themselves. Mm-hmm. That's like, the answer is within you. And to be honest, I feel like, again, like the sex has been lost in translation and what it means. I don't care, man or female. It's been lost as it's so sacred. So for me, I have kind of taken those blinders off where I'm like, okay, he has to be here. I'm okay with dating the trainer in Austin, Texas. That's just where I'm at. Like, I don't need a certain thing because I know what I'm wanting. Mm-hmm. Most guys in that percentage are not going to give me. So I would rather have a monogamous man than someone who can do whatever.
All women.
Brittany, nah, listen. Your kid's father plays in the NBA. You dated celebrities. You can't go out with multiple guys on this level and then go date the dude that's the trainer at the gym. And I'm not saying the guy that's a trainer at the gym don't make cash, but these guys are on a whole nother level. They're like 0.001% of men. You can't go from hanging out with these guys and having a baby by this dude, having the house and the Bentley, and then go date the trainer. And then, no, it's you just can't go back and do that as a female. Very few girls can get a taste of that life and go backwards and then, go be happy with the way life going. You just can't, man. You can't. You've been exposed to too much. I don't agree with that. But let's continue, though.
So you think the personal trainer is going to be monogamous? They're like known for cheating, no?
Well, I mean, here's my thing. Like, I get it.
And that's another thing. Lions have chance out of 10. The personal trainer gonna cheat on you too. So you might as well get the best guy that you can get. And especially in her case, right? She got a history of being with different athletes and celebrities and stuff like that. You got a ball player to lock you down. You got a kid. You had the house. You should have stayed. All you're gonna do is leave him, right? And go be with another dude who's gonna do the same thing. That was stupid. But let's continue.
Like, yeah. I don't generalize people because I'm one of the most misunderstood people online as well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's a lot more to me, and I don't like to just put everyone in a box. I'd like to get to know people. So no, I'm not going to just say, oh, well, of course he's going to cheat on me. Like, no.
Okay. Would you take a guy that makes $35,000 a year and had a dad bod?
Had a dad bod?
Yeah, dad bod.
I feel like for me, I would want someone who.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
I pour into myself, mm-hmm. and I'm accountable for my shit. I'm aware of what I got going on. I'm not going to have a a mom bod. I'm in the gym. I had a baby a year and a half ago. I'm in the gym 4 to 5 times a week. So I would want someone who can match at least the work ethic. Now, when it comes to money, I know for me, I want to be able to, I do not want to rely on a man. I have literally done that before. It didn't pan out in my favor, okay? Because what happens is you get the rug ripped from under you, and then now you fucking get out, bitch, give me the motherfucking keys. It isn't that. So for me, the lifestyle I want, I am responsible for. So I don't look for a man to make X amount of dollars because anything that I want, I'm going to get myself.
Well, because in my head, I feel like a guy's just as likely to cheat if he's in the top 20% of like looks. Just as likely as money. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't.
Let me ask a quick question just so I can clarify something because I understand your points. You're saying you want a partner, a life partner. Are you sure? And I'm not accusing. I'm genuinely asking. Are you sure you're not confusing the amount of time the man spends with you with his monogamy? Because they're different things. Because what happens a lot of the time if a man's out here chasing chicks, he's barely home. But imagine you had a man who was home 7 nights a week. He was always home. I'm talking about like an hour, like during his work lunch. You don't even notice. Then would you even give a shit about monogamy if you had all of his time effectively? Would you really care?
I still would care because I feel like that's still just an hour a day and it's not really quality time. I feel I really have been in so many different situations. Again, the trainer in Austin to the NBA player, baby daddy. Like I have.
You heard what she said, y'all? Key words. I've been in so many different situations, and you had looked up, got the basketball player after being in all them situations, and you decide to walk away because he doing the same thing that most of the men that you find attractive is gonna do. Let's continue.
Seen all of that stuff, and it's just my personal experience and perspective to where I want someone that sees the value in the Grand Canyon. I want somebody who
I understand. Okay, like, so that's a good point, and so I'll just ask the first question. I'm gonna ask the second question. The realization you've come to is an interesting one. It is something that happens, especially to females as they mature. Don't you think it's strange, or why do you think that 0 women on Earth choose those kind of men who they perhaps have slightly lower status, but are more likely to be loyal to them and be monogamous, etc. In the modern world, because like I said, the world's changed. Why do you think 0 women choose them when they're at the peak of their choices? So when a woman is 19 and she can go anywhere she wants, every man wants her, she can go on any yacht in Miami, she can get flown out to Dubai, when she has all the choices in the world, why is she completely uninterested in those kind of men? And then when she gets to a certain age of maturity and there's a whole new generation of girls who have all the choices, then they sit there and go, you know what? I deserve monogamy and and they all of a sudden want to grow up and mature. Why does no woman decide that when she actually is at her most valuable?
I say that all the time, man. They all see, this is the thing, right? Hold on, give me a second, y'all. They always, like I said in one of my videos, when she 37, 38, 39, then when they get to a certain ages, they understanding and all this stuff. Like Andrew said, why can't men get that same understanding from a woman when they're in the peak of their prime and they got the most negotiating power? When she 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Where's the understanding when they in that age, when they at that level in their life? Where's the understanding, right? Where's the consideration? Where's the femininity? Where's the living a fact-based reality part of things when they on that level? He asked a great question, man. This dude is Andrew cooking right now, man. Let's continue.
I feel like like I said, I don't like to speak for all women. I just speak for myself. But I know for me that I was looking for a man for a lifestyle, something that I was not able to do individually by myself. So that's why it's like, well, yeah, I want to be able to do this, do that. I want to go for the football player that was just on GQ. And in reality, now I realize, well, okay, there's a lot that comes with that. I can make my own money. I don't necessarily need that type of guy for the happiness that I'm looking for. Again, seeing value in the Grand Canyon is a lot different than like, okay, here's money for this, here's allowance for that.
And that's
here's an hour of my time.
As you asking why a man that is 20, 21, 23.
But see, the problem is you didn't care nothing about the man who could take you to the Grand Canyon when you was 21, 22 years old. If a man would have been talking to you about the Grand Canyon back then, you would have tossed him to the side. You would have disregarded everything he said and looked at him like he was stupid. But see, now you not in the peak of your prime no more. Now you want somebody to do the Grand Canyon with. This is what I be saying, y'all, man. But let's continue.
He's not a top G like a 30, 40-year-old
Well,
man.
no, the point...
your age actually dictates your sort of maturity to a large extent.
Well, I'm arguing the point. The point I'm trying to make is that what I actually think happens, especially in the modern world, because the modern world's all fucked up and nothing's the way it's supposed to be. The traditional life path of a female is she's 17, she's 18, she's 19, and her value is massively inflated. And I don't blame her. Of course it's massively inflated. Imagine being 19 years old, have achieved exactly fucking zero in your life, knowing nothing. You put makeup on, and sports stars, billionaires, actors, the most important famous people on the planet, the richest men on the planet are begging for your attention. The ego you're going to develop, let's all be honest, right? The ego you're going to develop is going to be monu-fucking-mental. I'm special, I'm so gorgeous, all this bullshit, right? And then what happens as they grow older, as new generations come along, because the truth is most women are at their peak attraction, let's say in their early 20s. As they grow older, what women become is far more fearful of competition. This is why you'll see a woman who's a bit older go, oh, you know, I really want monogamy. What she's scared of is her dude getting a 21-year-old. That's what she's fucking scared of. She may not know it. She may not say it. But basically, that's what the truth is, because she knows a 21-year-old is going to be more desirable, higher status, more fertile. That's what she's scared of.
Cheating is bad when you're 30 or 27.
So no, but it's not about that. I'm telling you the shift in the female mentality, because when a female is 20, she doesn't give a fuck about any of this. She doesn't want to find a nice man. Now she's trying to, like you're saying, chasing a lifestyle, chasing Mr. Promiscuous, chasing Mr. Famous. Doesn't give a shit until she starts getting scared. Oh, shit. Oh, my age begins with 3 now. And then they change, their mentality changes. It's a fear element. That's the reality. And it's a biological fear element. I'll give you an example of it. You know what's amazing about humans? We are still very primal. When men like these two and me, when we walk through the mall, people just move. It's like you can sense when the big animals turn up, right? It's something amazing about humans. If you have a very attractive 45-year-old woman, she's gorgeous, but a gorgeous 19-year-old walks in, look at that 45-year-old woman's face. She's furious. She fucking hates her. She just doesn't like her for no reason. Yeah. Because women understand, unfortunately, but your age is a massive indicator in your value. In an inverse way to men are more valuable as we get older. Every woman knows that. Every woman will sit here and go, yeah, I want a man who's older than me. Of course. But if I say it the other way around, I'm misogynistic. It's just the reality of the world. So then we have to go into the other point. The point is this. When you were at your peak value, you had zero interest in monogamy. But then you find a man who's 35 at his peak value. He's finally struggled and worked, because when he was 19, no girl spoke to him. When he was 23, he was broke. When he was 24, he had no life experience. When he was 25, he couldn't fuck. When he was 26, whatever. He finally gets to the point where he's now at his peak value. Him at 35 is you when you were 19. And then you're sitting there saying to him, no, you should be monogamous. It's like, well, you fucking weren't. You did whatever you wanted in your peak. Now I'm finally got there. And I had to work for my shit. God gave you. God and L'Oreal gave you. I had to fucking struggle. I had to go through hell to get on this yacht. You go on the yacht with an Instagram DM. I had to buy it. And now you're telling me I need to fucking settle down and behave and grow up? Fuck you. Because it's bullshit.
You're assuming that the journey is a man that starts with nothing to something, because there's a lot of men that
is exactly the journey of every man on earth. We are born without value.
And like he said, that's the thing. They go out there, get inside the Baskin-Robbins store. They get to try all the flavors at 18 years old just from existing. Don't have to put in no work. And that's what he's saying. And when a man got to fight tooth and nail and he finally get a chance to get in that store, you want him to stop at Joe Vanilla Bean and don't try the other flavors when you got to try the flavors? Absolutely not. See, these girls, they want to control everything. They want to reserve the right to go out there, hop on the carousel, as many sausages as they like, and then when the game is no longer catered to their liking and they out of their prime, then they want to sell you purity and then force you into monogamy when they got to go out and outlive their desires. Absolutely not. That's big cap.
Do you think
so there's specificity in that?
Can I just
because that's not how it should be for everybody, and that's not how it is for everybody, and not for every woman either as well, may I just say.
Can I ask Brittany something, please? You know, like, then you've learned in the past, and now you want to find someone to settle down. With hindsight now, would you have reversed it and like started young, looking for someone to settle down with, looking for those values that now you know? I'm talking that with hindsight.
Okay, well, I actually, from 18 to 22, I was in a relationship. I've always actually been a lover girl, despite what I put out online for,
I've never seen you online.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, that's even better. I have always wanted one person. And I feel like I was so delusional in thinking that, oh, I'm like you said, like I have value, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm at my peak. Like, why wouldn't you want to be with me? So going into these relationships or just like, just people, my goal was always to get commitment. Like, I'm giving you my time, I'm pouring into you because I want commitment. And the reality is I'd never really understood my value. So I was going through guys, giving up sex, doing this, and it didn't make sense. So I believe in, like, I stand on everything I do. Like, I don't do apology tours. It is what it is. And I think that's where I feel like when they talk about women being delusional and all these other things, it is true. Because what you have to understand is that there are repercussions to your decisions, which is fine. So then you're talking about, okay, well, I want this type of guy, I want this, that, and that. You're talking about maybe monogamy. That's 3 to 5% of animals are monogamous. I think that's what it is, right? So your window is really, really small for what you're looking for. And even to go on to the point you said where you were talking about it's like a subconscious fear, I think it's like, for me, I feel like if it was more of a fear, I would have just stayed in my situation. Like, it wouldn't have made sense. Like, I mean, that was my first kid. I thought I waited and did it right. I left because I believe that there's something else on my heart when it comes to love, and I'm just going to have to trust that. And if that means being alone, having a dog, I have to take that chance because the Bentley, the ring, the house, and still getting, again, deceived, right? Disrespected, because deceit is disrespect, right? So I cannot settle for that. I can't suck a dick and shut up. And that is where a lot of people don't like my views and what I represent because it is something new. I don't know how it's going to fucking end. I don't know what's going to happen.
What would you tell your 17, if you had to, like, what would you tell your 17-year-old self, knowing what you know now? Looking back and you had to meet yourself at 17, what would you tell yourself? Like, lock it down and wait for the right man, don't have sex. What would you tell your 17-year-old self?
That the answers aren't outside of you, because I feel like I'd always look for men to answer all of my questions that I've ever had. I thought when I had a man, it would complete me. And I feel like too, especially with like my dad not being in my life, you look for somebody to guide me. Like, so that's where for me, I put.
There it goes right there. She said her daddy went in her life looking for somebody to guide her. This is why it's important for women to have fathers in their life to show them leadership skills so that they can know what to look for in men. Let's continue.
Too much value in someone else having the answers for me. So that's why I'm really big on accountability. So I would just tell myself, like, to be patient, to take your time, because I was always quick. Oh, let's try to get in a relationship. Like, we weren't even compatible. There's a lot of just not compatible factors. So I feel like for me, it would be to slow down and to really get to know people instead of just blindly banking on potential that most likely will never be tapped into, or selling myself short because there's a fear of, well, I don't know, this could be the best that I could get. I might as well just shut up and suck a dick.
And that's what I meant about women nowadays, because exactly what you'd be telling your 17-year-old self is what happened back in the day. So when I'm repeating these things, I'm going, oh, you're old fashioned. But it seems like women do what they like, and then they hit a certain age and say, oh, well, I've got to settle. But it's not settling. You're just getting whatever you can.
You know,
or whatever you deserve.
You know what?
Because
Auntie,
if you think back now, you'd be telling people now, rather than say that Auntie's old fashioned or Auntie don't know what she's talking about, look what she'd be telling her 17-year-old self, which ain't nothing that I ain't already said.
Yeah,
because
that's fine.
really and truly, really and truly, let me finish. Because what I've always said, and you can check, I'm an older version of you. So where you've been, I've already been on up come back. So that's why I asked you, what would you tell your 17-year-old self? Because me telling you is, I'm telling my 30-year-old self. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So it's not that I'm old-fashioned. It's just that women hit a certain age and then realize, oh, my God, it wasn't that old-fashioned. You know, it works because it does. But there's no point in waiting till you're a certain age to start thinking about it. You know, even if you're like, you hold your own accountability. So it's like if you meet somebody and they were like 17, 18 and you saw them acting a certain way, they ask you for advice, you wouldn't say, do as I do. You say, listen, this is what happened to me. And this is what I thought. And what I recommend you do is blah, blah, blah. Am I right or am I wrong? If they ask you for your advice.
No, I totally get what you're saying. Like, I totally agree with that. I think that no matter what you decide to do, you have to accept whatever repercussions come behind that. So any advice that I give to anybody is do what you want, but just know there are repercussions, good, bad, or indifferent, that are going to come behind it. So, I mean, and I think that's...
I don't think you should tell girls, I don't think she should tell girls to do what you want, but there's consequence behind it. women look at you, right? She's a public figure now. They listen to what she got to say. She got the voice of the girls, women, whatever you want to call it. You shouldn't tell them to do what you want. You should tell them not to do that. Tell them your story, all the pain and things you go through. All the pains and things you went through. What comes with dealing with these kind of men. Enlighten these women on the pros and cons that come with dealing with these guys on this level, because these girls are extremely hypergamous and they don't think these decisions through. But don't tell them to do what you want. Tell them that this is what happened when you make this decision.
Just where I'm at, I don't even think it's like an age thing. I think it's like, in reality, I have a son, and you really start asking yourself questions. And again, I hate that it took having a child to really look into my life and call myself out on my bullshit.
So if you got pregnant earlier, if you got pregnant at 18, 19, would it?
I was always on birth control.
Society. Because on one hand, we hear that women should wait till they're married to have sex, but at the same time, we also hear from the men that they don't want to get married anymore. So what do we do with that?
Seems like it's true, because nowadays a lot of people are looking at marriage as a contract rather than a partnership. And there's a huge difference between that, because with a contract, there are so many terms and many headaches and this and that. And
well, it is a contract.
Well,
yeah,
women are
that's
paid
why.
To leave, yeah.
But that's because that is what it is now. Because realistically, the traditional sense of marriage is not a contract, really, in terms of the law. Once the law is involved, that's when everything went tits up, I think.
Yeah. So the problem is that there's zero advantage to marriage in the Western world for a man. There is zero statistical advantage. If you use your mind, if you use your head instead of your heart, and you look at the advantages to getting married, there are absolutely and utterly none. Because this new idea of new age feminism just basically destroys all men in the idea, or in the event of her leaving. And it's very common that women leave, right? Let's stop the man versus woman attack, et cetera, et cetera. Life's difficult for everybody. We all have different challenges, different things to go through. But if a woman marries a man and it goes wrong, she has emotional heartbreak, fine. But if a man marries a woman and it goes wrong, he has emotional heartbreak. Plus, everything he has ever worked for is ripped out from underneath him, and he has to give that chick money forever.
In some places, you don't even have to be married.
Exactly.
That's why the men don't want to live with the women either.
That's right. So when you make these rules and these laws, right, under the guise of feminism and equality, all this garbage, all you're doing is scaring men away from commitment.
That's a fact. That's a fact right there. Because the thing is, the society give women all the leverage. They can go out here and work jobs just like men. It's believe women first without asking any question. A woman can lie on you and just destroy your whole life, right? If a woman go out here, make all these bad decisions, guess who come to save them? The government. What? Section 8, food stamps. They get food vouchers for the kids, wicks for the babies. It's always somebody there to save them from their bad decisions. And then, as men, you don't have nothing else. The only thing that you have is marriage to give away to a woman. Once you get out of the way and you got kids by her, you have no leverage. And then when you live with her, she got all the leverage right now. So she can get up one day and decide just by the way that she feel, because she feel a certain way, to leave you, take 50% of your assets and everything you work hard for based upon the way that she feel. Absolutely not. But let's continue.
And then you have to add in the other hidden element. And the other hidden element is what I said earlier, is whose fault a lot of this is promiscuous women, right? So when society is broken down, if women were saying, if all women got together and said, we'll only have sex after marriage, guess what men would do? Get married. But you don't, right? So now you're in Miami. I go to Miami. I can fuck anything in the club. I don't have to marry any of them. If I marry them, I get wrecked. So, like, let's all use our brains here. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be like, well, no. Bounce. See ya. No. So men have been scared away from the idea of marriage, and that's a lot of that is the fault of this new bullshit law and this new feminism and this new crap. They don't give men any tactical advantage. And I'm talking about small things. A man's not even allowed to be a man in his own house. Do you know in England you will get accused of emotional abuse? I can marry a woman, not lay a hand on her. I can just raise my voice at her. That's emotional abuse. I can raise my voice at her because she's going out drinking with dudes. She can go out drinking 6 nights a week with men. And I can say, what the fuck, you're my wife, sit down. She can call the cops, call me emotionally abusive. I get arrested now. Now there's a court case against me. I have to go to court and defend myself. She'll divorce me, take my house. I have to sell my car because she's drinking vodka with fucking God knows who.
But you notice that
it's insanity.
What do you think of child support?
And that's another interesting thing, because a lot of these arguments, it goes beyond man and woman, and it goes into the larger sphere as a whole, right? Because we talked earlier about war and how a lot of men used to die, and that doesn't happen anymore. So what you used to have in societies, and I'm not saying I have all the answers, I'm just commenting, right? What you used to have in societies is a bunch of men would die at war, because men have more dangerous lives than women. There'd be a bunch more women than men. The top Gs would impregnate a bunch of women, and the top Gs could take care of the women, and that'd be it, et cetera, et cetera. That's now changed, right? So a lot of the reason that monogamy is pushed is because it's good for society. And it is good for society. It's good for society as a whole to have a man, a woman, a family, they're together, the man provides for the woman, et cetera. The government doesn't want to pay for all these kids. If you don't have child support, who's paying for these kids? The government does it. It breaks down, right? So that's why child support is enforced in many parts of the world. In certain other parts of the world, child support isn't enforced because they have religious beliefs or genuine family beliefs that keep the families together. But in the Western world, now you need child support because you've broken things down to the point where men don't want to be married to chicks. Chicks don't want to listen to the man. The man can't even be the man in his own household. He can't even feel respected where he goes. His woman gives him no status. And now he doesn't want to fucking deal with her anymore. So how do you get that kid paid for? Well, then tell the man, or you go to jail. And you just come along with the fucking long arm of the law and you fuck him. And so, yeah, it's difficult. It's hard to answer. Yeah, but it's hard to answer. The true answer to all of it is an idealistic answer. I don't like to think idealistically and talk idealistically, but it's the truth. The true answer to it is to instill in the man a sense of duty in which he wants to take care of his woman regardless, because that's his child. But you will do that. I'll tell you how you do that. You do that by inspiring out of the man by being a very good woman. So I'll give you an example. If I had a child with a woman, and she was always a great woman to me. She never cheated on me. She was a good woman to me. And I was running around being whatever. And she's like, look, I just can't put up with you anymore. You're top G. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm going to look after your kid. You can see him anytime you want. I care about you. Please don't leave me in poverty. I'd say, cool. 100%. I'm not a fucking dickhead.
Can I
cool,
say
that's a real man though, because I was in a situation but I was just in a situation like that to where it's like hearts don't break even, and that's the reality too. It's like if those morals and principles are not instilled in a man, none of that shit matters. So obviously the child support stuff obviously hits close home to me because I'm already $50,000. It's just in lawyer fees trying to get him to provide. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it sucks because it's like you play in the NBA. Like why don't you want to do more? And it's just because, again, of the relationship. It's personal. It's not about our son.
Personal. That's right.
So it's like, if you're not.
I just feel like it's like, why do you get money for making a poor choice?
Well, it wasn't a poor choice because it took two.
I'm not trying to like disrespect you in any way. It's just like, if you left. And
no.
So it's like, why do you get money for it? It just doesn't make sense.
Pearl hold women accountable for their decisions, man. It's the truth. You left the relationship. You left. Let's continue.
Because we made a commitment. At the end of the day, we made a commitment. We have a forever commitment. Fuck marriage. We are forever family. So again, as someone who is literally going through this, if I made more money than him, I would be paying him child support, and that would be fair to me.
But this is what's really interesting. What's truly interesting is if you.
I don't believe that one. Hold up. I'm gonna call BS on that one. If you made more money, you would have been paying child support. No, if you made more money than him, you wouldn't even be seeing him. He would be invisible to you. You'd be too busy looking at other men that's on his level now. That's cap, man. That man would have had a fighting chance if you was making more money than him. No way in hell. But let's continue.
You go to other countries, and I'm talking about civilized countries, right? If you go to Poland or Czech Republic or whatever, these countries, which are in many metrics more civilized than the West, they're safer to live in.
Now listen to this, y'all. He about to activate this overseas stuff on y'all. This is part of the reason why I tell y'all about this passport stuff. But let's continue.
They're cleaner, etc. There's no child support laws. So if you have a divorce, the man just takes care of the woman because that's his kid and that's just what he's supposed to do, and that's just it. So what you're saying is, you're right about the man having the morality instilled inside of them. And my point is that the reason a lot of this doesn't exist, the reason men don't have morality installed in them, is not just about the individual case of the man. It's about society as a whole. It's about women as a whole, men as a whole, the dating game as a whole, the life he's living as a whole. And this is the world we live in. This is why I was talking about how dangerous new think is, because now we have this new think, this new world, and we're living in this new world. And the truth is, as a man, now the game has changed. In the game of chess, sometimes it's not about winning. It's about making sure you don't lose. If you can not lose, if you can not blunder any pieces and protect your king long enough, you'll win the game. And there's a lot of men who are now like, okay, how do I not lose? Well, you know what? I become fucking ruthless. That's how I don't lose. I get all my sex because women are promiscuous. I get laid as much as I want. I don't let anyone fucking tie me into anything dumb. Any bitch wants to get fresh to me or fucking talk to another dude, I cut her off financially. And you just get ruthless so you don't lose the game. But that's because the game's been rigged against men. So the
facts. And this is the reason why guys are the way they are, because of you women. Y'all go after the top guys, and as men, we understand that women supposed to get the best man that they supposed to get. So when men become the best version of themselves, they just go out there, pump you and dump you because you don't add no more value. All you bring to the thing is your physical and some encounters. That's what it is. Men, okay, men starting to see, all right, she only want the guys that's in the top 10, 20% of men. All right, bet. I'm gonna put in the work, come top 10 and 20% of men, and when I get there, I'm gonna tap them sugar walls, activate them waterfalls, and do the quarterback withdrawal. This is what happens, man. Women are the reason why men have to adapt and the reason they're acting the way they acting. You want to be mad at somebody, hold yourselves accountable for that one right there. He's speaking facts right now. Let's continue.
harder you rig the game against us, the more ruthless we're going to have to be to compete.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm just saying why men do what they do.
Can I just say with regards to Brittany, I just think that with regards to child support, you've got a kid, you look after it.
Hey, I do.
Not you, the men.
I was saying I do look after my son.
No, not you.
Okay, I was like, hold on.
That's why I said, no, that's what I said with regards to the child support. That's what I first said. I think that you have a kid, that you should look after it. I don't agree with men giving the women money, but I think it's disgusting that a man can have a child and not support it.
So do I. But this is another thing. So this is the comments we have to make, right? Because we don't have all the answers. We have to make the comments on it. This goes into the deeper point. Every time a court rules in favor of a chick having $100,000 a month, that puts men off to a level. Like, it's fine if there was a baseline child support, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. That's if you have a kid, baseline, regardless of income. If your man wants to give you more, he does. If he doesn't, whatever. But when you come along and start saying this percent of a man's income, do you have any idea how scary that is to a man who works for his money? He works for his money. And do you know why it's scary? It's not just because he's giving his money away. It's because he knows he isn't giving money to the kid.
Yeah.
The kid, you can raise a kid on $500 a month in most of the world. You want that kid in Gucci, you in a nice car, going on dates with another dude with my money.
And that's exactly why she in court right now, and that man is fighting as far as giving her money because he know that you out here messing around with other men or potentially talking to other guys. He ain't about to sit up here and give you all this money. She had another interview with Brittany Renner, and she said she was getting like $2,500 a month, right? That man, like he said, all it takes is $500, right? All you need is enough money for the kid. But see, they be wanting enough money for the kid and for them to live the lifestyle that they want to live. That's what it be, man. Like he said, no man want to be sitting up here giving his hard-earned resources away for you to go out there and live your life and go out there and get your sugar walls tapped by another man with his money. Absolutely not. Facts. He's speaking facts right now. Let's continue.
I'd rather burn the fucking house down than give it to you under those fucking circumstances.
They vouchers for child support.
I just think it incentivizes poor decisions. Like I haven't gotten pregnant by someone, but like but I'm saying, but like you're gonna pay someone who's done that. Like why did they get?
Okay, no, but I'm literally telling you that if I made more money than him, I would have no problem paying for my child. And child support laws vary in different states. So
if you made more money than him, but if you made more money than him, you wouldn't have been talking to him to begin with to even lay down and make a kid. This is the part where I don't agree because you're not keeping it all the way real right now. You know what kind of guys you were aiming for at that time, and you were only with him because of who he was. Let's not play that game, but let's continue.
In North Carolina, for instance, if you make over combined of $300,000 a year, then you are considered off the grid. So then you have to prove this is how much your rent is. Any bill that my son occupies, I get a percentage of. So on the low end, it would be 50%. If there's a big enough salary gap, it could be up to 97%. In the court, the judge gets to decide what makes the most sense. So if my child's father makes $20 million a year from basketball, he gets to decide if $6,000 is a lot, if $8,000 or $10,000, whatever. But you have to prove that. So it's not like you just it's enough money for a Chanel bag. Like these are my son watches Peppa Pig, that's a cable bill. You know what I mean? So it's a percentage of everything. So you're not like just living it up. You're just living. So you're able to there's a roof over your son's head.
My whole point is that like it's all down to choices. And the man
made a choice too because I can't get pregnant unless he nuts in me.
I understand that, but I'm
then there's nothing to argue. You understand that.
You're the one that's you're in control of who gets born. Abortion's legal. As soon as he nuts, it's completely out of his control.
Can I just say something though?
Wait,
just playing
Auntie,
devil's advocate that I had my child.
She got triggered, but it's the truth. You chose the guy. You chose his life. You've been messing around with these guys in the industry for quite some time. You know what come with it. You dealt with other athletes before. You dealt with other celebrities before. Don't try to act stupid all of a sudden now, because what you try to do is sell purity to him because he was younger than you and force him into monogamy. That's what it was. You already know he's a young dude in the NBA. Come on, man. You thought you was going to be the only woman. You couldn't have thought that. It just backfired because you try to put your tactics on it, and it wasn't enough to manipulate the situation and skew it to what you wanted, man. They want to have it all. You cannot have it all as a female. You have to pick and choose what's more important to you. Let's continue.
And we and the dad went together, and I didn't take a penny from him. And the government wanted me to, but I decided that no, that he was better off that my child, I look after him myself. Anything he wants to give his son, if he wanted to, is extra. But I worked hard and I done it all on my own because it was just less. Because it's this headache. It's this headache.
No, and I know a lot of women that went that route.
It's quite unfair though that you have to think that he's not going to be a man and take care of his child. Don't you think that's unfair on you?
No, because he's my child and he's happy. And I'll give him what he wants.
Child as well. He made that child.
That's why I don't need a man attitude.
But the whole point is you choose who you sleep with.
Listen, right, as far as
he chooses as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, this is two to tango. What are we talking about?
I'm saying right now it's not fair because women.
You know the other girl in the background talking about some she don't need a man. Now, when danger come to strike at her crib, who she calling? The cops. And 9.5 chances out of 10 is going to be a man that's going to come bail out of whatever danger she got. That's cap. But let's continue.
Have abortion, that's legal. It's not legal for them.
They
get no say. They get no say, and the same thing with birth control.
I could have done, but it wasn't worth my time. Why am I going to go and fight a man?
IUD, it's like 99.9%.
But what if the man wanted the child though?
That's exactly my point. So I was on birth. Let's just use me as an example.
My point. I think he should. I think he should take care of it, but I just don't agree with having legal incentives for women to leave. That's my point. He should give you money for the kid. If you have a kid, you should, but I just don't agree with
See, but the thing is, if men...
I agree with that. But as far as you getting a large percentage of all his hard-earned money, absolutely not. It shouldn't be incentivized for you to leave me based upon the way you feel. Absolutely not. But let's continue.
Stood up and became fathers to their children. Women wouldn't have
to. We're in control of who we sleep with. So at the end of the day,
that's not the point, because if you pick,
that is the point. You have control of who you sleep with, and you have all the rights to decide to have the child or not. You lay down with a guy who have no interest in having a future with you, wanting to build a family with you. Why would you continue to go along and still have a child? It is your fault. Accountability at its finest is what need to be held upon you. Let's continue.
But you pick who you sleep with. Okay. So if you pick a guy that's getting girls pregnant left and right.
But she doesn't know that he's not going to be there. She doesn't know that.
If she married him, she'd be all right.
She trusted this man to be a father to a child, and now she's left with a child, and no one's going to support her.
Marry him.
Don't you think that's unfair?
Should have married him first.
I mean, you can get
under the guise.
You heard what she said? Should have married him first.
You can get married.
Of course.
You get married. That's
what I'm saying. It's just like.
In the words of Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, marry before you carry. Continue.
Marriage is what solves problems. Are you guys actually sitting here?
What I'm trying to say, marriage will solve the financial problems.
You've already spoken, Auntie. Please don't cut me off. This is the problem, yeah? Stop acting like every woman that leaves a marriage and gets divorced is because she's this and she's that. There's a lot of women that suffer and they actually need the support and the legal incentive so that they know when they leave, somebody can back them up because they'll be on their own. Stop acting like men.
See how they always got this innate need to protect other women from their decisions? See how it's always innate need to protect women? See how passionate she get about protecting the women? Where's that passion when Andrew Tate was talking about how a woman can wake up and just take half of everything a man work hard for based upon the way she feel? It wasn't no protection for that. It wasn't no passion to speak on that. She ain't had nothing to say. But when it comes to these women making bad decisions, y'all always feel an innate need to just save them and try to bail them out, man. Let's continue, man. This is ridiculous.
are angels, because there's a lot of men that are dealing with a lot of the traumas that they have from a man's world being difficult. The same way that Andrew Tate explained, a man's world is highly competitive. Men are out there suffering. It is hard to be a man, and a lot of the time, the person that takes the brunt of it is the woman. So yes, she's well within her right to leave, take her child, and be in a better place, and the government should step in to make sure that that man that made her make that decision steps in for their kid.
Can I say something?
The time that she takes to take care of the child is the time that she doesn't have to go to work. So she's already down on income, and she's having to be taking care of the child on her own. That don't make sense. Not every man is a bloody angel, and not every woman is a devil.
Hang on a minute.
Yes, it makes all the sense in the world. It's called accountability. You laid down with this guy who did not want to have a family with you. This is the consequences that come with it. Why does men face all the consequences that come with all eight decisions? You want to go out in the street, be a street dude, guess what? You end up dead or in jail, right? This would come with it. But when it comes to them, they always feel a need to try to save them. I don't care about whether or not she decided to lay down and have a kid with this dude, and then she leave and all it is child support to take care of the kid. Well, go get a job. You laid down and had a baby with that guy. You picked him. You got to take responsibility of everything that come with that. The society need to stop billing these women out, and then they'll be more accountable for their decisions, man. This is what comes with it. But let's continue.
I'm gonna leave. Go ahead.
Hang on a minute. How do you do that, bro?
When did I say a man was an angel?
How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that?
I'm talking. I waited.
Yes, you did.
I waited. Right? So now it's my time to talk.
Talk to me.
What I was saying to her is that if she'd got married first, then she would have been all right. She would have to be fighting through the court. So the same law that you're saying would have supported her and her child.
And
that is the difference between getting married first.
No,
and that's what I'm saying. And that's what when people were saying
just gives you more money. Hang on a minute. Divorce and kids. It's not a good decision, yeah?
Excuse me, but I shut up when you were talking.
Go on, apologies, my auntie.
Right.
I didn't mean to disrespect you.
So what I was trying to say is that there is an incentive when women get married first and have children. Because I'm not saying that you, I'm just saying women in general. If a woman gets married first before she has a child and then it leaves, then it's totally different. Like he said before, she's set up for life. If she leaves, she's out for life. So if somebody
else
up
for life without marriage, though, that's the point.
No, and
what you want to hear.
No, and as a person, again, let's ask somebody who's actually going through, because none of you fucking know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to child support, lawyers, none of that shit. None of you fucking know, okay? So you don't. The reality is, if I would have gotten married and did everything right and did everything the moral way, right? Guess what? All I would have on top of what I'm going through with child support is alimony. So I'm still in the courts fighting, whether I'm married or whether I'm not. So that I get what you're saying, because hey, you at least get the commitment to, maybe back up that he's going to be there, but it doesn't ensure anything. Everybody wants a fucking guaranteed thing. There's no guaranteed in life.
We're talking different places. When you're in America and you're married and you divorce, you still got to fight for your money. And would you still
have
to, not
you
in
have
England.
To get a lawyer.
Right, not in England. In England, you get a lawyer and it's sorted. That's the difference. But you would have to be going there saying, "Oh, I need this for my child, and I need this." Once you get divorced and you go to court, it's that much.
Alimony and child support are different.
I'm saying she just spent £50,000. She's still fighting. You would have to pay that here. You would not have to pay that here. You would not have to pay that here. You would not have to pay that here. Do your research. You would not have to pay that here. When you get divorced, she wouldn't be going for all the battle that she's going. It'd be simpler in England to get divorced than in America.
That's what I'm saying. In England,
Don't
take your money. Don't get married. Have a parental partnership. Love your woman. Pay whatever you need to pay for your kids.
I just want to make a point. You know what you were saying? Get married. Even Tate said it himself. Men don't want to get married anymore.
Why are you not turning what he's saying? Why are you not twisting what he's saying? You're not even listening to what he's saying.
It's not attractive anymore. It's more lost for a man to get married.
You're taking what he's saying and you're twisting it to suit yourself.
What did you say? I'm not. He literally said, Tate, didn't you say that men are scared of getting married now?
What? Yeah, okay, but why?
Because, like you said, with child support, they feel like there's no advantage.
And so alimony,
you say just get married. It's not that simple because men don't want to marry you.
Okay, so let's analyze that point. And first thing, back to the child support thing. What's actually interesting to talk about is there's a lot of countries in the world where there is no child support system and it functions, right? So you have to, if you want to pay attention to actually, learn about society as a whole, it's very interesting to study all the different societies and economies in which there is no child support and children don't die. I mean, people get divorced and they still find a way to function. And it's interesting, and it's a very long conversation because it extrapolates about how the whole society works as a whole. That's the first point. Second thing, I'll actually sit here and argue the point that I don't think any man really ever wants to get married. I think that women convince him to get married. And I think that any woman who is genuinely serious about convincing her man to get married could do it. I don't think, in the modern world at least, men wake up and go, can't wait to get married. But what they do is they get a chick who's so good and ticks so many boxes and makes them so happy. And she'll sit there and say, you know what? It would mean the world to me. Please. And he'll go, oh, for fuck's sake. All right, then. And that's what happens. So I still think you can convince 99.9% of men to marry you. The point I was making is, the society isn't convincing the man to marry you. It's not like it used to be where the man believed he had to be married. Society's done the opposite. So it's your job as a woman to make it clear to him that it is worthwhile. Once again, how would you convince a man it's worthwhile for him to say, that's my wife? Status. That's how you do it. This is a misunderstood hack to men as a whole, is status. If you can convince that man, but by marrying you, his status will increase amongst his peers, he's going to do it. And for anyone out here who disagrees with me, the things men do for status, let's actually analyze how baseline men are. What is status? Status is respect, right? Men kill over respect. Gangs kill each other over respect. A man will smash another man's face in for insulting him. We will die for respect and status. You tell me we won't get married? We'll die for we'll go to the front line of a war, and the only reason we don't walk away and abandon our post as artillery shells rain is because we're afraid of being mocked for being a coward. We'll die for status. So status is what it's all about. It's what it's always been about. If you wanted a man to marry you, status. And it's the same thing with nearly anything you want to do with a man. I don't know anything about your personal life. I'll be honest. I don't know, right? But I'll tell you this now. If this dude, this NBA player, believed that he would be higher respected amongst his peers and amongst society for taking care of you properly, that's what he'd fucking do. He doesn't feel that because either he's rolling with the wrong people or you've pissed him off in a way or something public's happened. I don't have a clue. But something's happened where he feels like if I take care of her, I'll look like a bitch.
Facts. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. She messed around with different men in the industry, right? People that he know and probably rub shoulders and elbows with or do XYZ for because he don't feel like he'll be respected by his peers. He don't think he'll be respected by his peers. I agree with Andrew. Absolutely. Let's continue.
That's what he's scared of. If it was inversed, he had no problem giving you money because that's how men function. I'm telling you right now, as a man, I'm telling you what I would do. If I had a chick with a woman, right? And she went on the news, top G's this and fucking, like I said, I have no idea what you've done, but I'm just giving my personal made up scenario.
Oh, yeah.
She would go on the news, top G's this, and he fucking lied to me. He's a piece of shit, da-da-da. And then I bought her a Bentley. Women's be like, well, look, she insults Top G. She insults him, and he's a simp. Da, da, da. But if she was like, you know what? He's misunderstood. He's a good guy. It just didn't work out. Boom, boom, boom. I'd bet she'd be in a mansion, right? And would that be me being a nice guy, caring about her? Or let's be honest, would it be me being a selfish piece of shit dude and saying, what makes me look better? Men are all about status. It's how we function. It's how we function as a whole. So society, this is where it extrapolates and gets interesting. When society with this new think has destroyed all of the baseline humanities and baseline understandings of how men interact with women. And now, all the things we previously understood about what made a good man, what made a good woman, and how we should act together and how we should interact has been erased. Of course men are acting like dickheads, and of course women are doing wrong things, because nothing makes sense anymore. You've taken the chessboard and moved all the fucking pieces around. Nobody gets it. It should be very simple. I'm a man, I work hard, I take care of my woman. I'm the man of the house. She treats me with respect. She would never insult me or raise her voice to me in front of other people. She's a problem. She brings it to me in private. We act as a team. We work together. If we break up, she was a good woman to me. She fulfilled her roles the best she possibly could. I'm still a man. I'm going to take care of her. But all of that is gone. All of it's gone. All of it. And it's gone because of all the ideas we were discussing earlier. The feminism, the new age bullshit, the fucking dudes left and right and center. All these things. All these baseline things have eroded society to the point where now you have men ignoring their paternal instinct. You have men who will sit there and go, that's my child, but I fuck her. That's actually a massive observation to make about how fucked up society is. And it shouldn't be that way because men in a lot of the world are not like that. So you have to look at all these small things. The small things we talk about, it's no big deal. She goes on boats in Miami. It's no big deal. It is a big deal because now that dude ain't going to want to fucking pay child support because you were on those fucking boats with the other team.
And the thing is,
facts. That's why that man's having a hard time taking to court because he ain't about to give up his resources to you and you going out there fucking the other team. Facts. That's a fact, man. This dude is cooking right now, man. Should have got him an apron, man.
do
you think that men?
That was well said, Sagittarius.
Look, they don't even got to respond. That was well said. The most masculine feminist in the room. She can't even respond to that. It's a fact. You can't argue with that, man. Listen, man. He articulated himself extremely well.
And it's your birthday, and for your birthday, he gets you, let's say, a $500 gift. Okay, and you're happy, right? It's thoughtful, it's specific to you. Then you found out last year he got his ex-girlfriend an entire birthday party. How does that make you feel? He did the most. He rented out the nicest hotel in London. He got her everything she wanted the year before.
Me not care.
You don't care at all?
I don't really care. As long as he's making me happy.
That's a big cat. Man, you gonna sit here and tell me he went all out for his ex-girlfriend and he ain't doing it for y'all? As materialistic as women is nowadays, you find out that the ex-girlfriend got the experience that you didn't get. You gonna sit here and tell me that you don't care? That's cap, man. I can never believe that one. But let's continue, y'all. This cap.
Okay,
we're different people too.
Yeah.
It's a different relationship, and maybe like, you know, he bought her flowers every day, 365 days a year, and he didn't do that for me. It's like, well, if that's what makes her happy, he's gonna do what makes her happy.
That's cap. That's a lie. I'm calling cap on that one. You ain't about to sit here and tell me a dude was buying his ex-girlfriend flowers 365 days out the year. As much as you women want to feel special, he did that for her, and then he ain't do the same for you. You're going to feel some kind of way. It ain't too many women out here who ain't going to bat an eye when they find out that the ex-girlfriend was getting flowers every day and she ain't get any. She going to start feeling less then. That's the truth, but let's continue.
I mean, I get the angle. What you're saying is like, oh, he did all that for her. Why am I not good enough? But the second you compare yourself, you lose.
Yeah.
And I agree. But I'm just saying that's how men look at like your past is like basically like you've given it for free.
So here's my question to that, because all right, I love like everything we're talking about. Okay, so to all the viewers out there, including myself, right? You live life. There's gray area. You live and you fucking learn, right? So where the fuck do we go from here? So do I play the shame game where everybody walks away a fucking loser? Because I can do that. I've beat myself up my entire life for every decision I've ever made. Right? It got me nowhere. No. So I value myself. I see the world differently through a series of events, right? So what the fuck comes next? Because that's where I'm confused, right? Because I'm not, it's like, if it's not like gifted to you, like even in your situation, like your dad provided you a life that like so many people would kill for. Like, you know what I mean? So that's why it's like, it sucks, because the reason I hate these conversations is because it's never about like empathy. Do I understand the scales and how someone may view you for this, that, and the third?
No, it's not about empathy, because y'all women don't have empathy for men because y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. Y'all just want what y'all want, and it's fuck what the man want. That's the truth. But let's continue.
Okay, but moving forward, then what? So, okay, so I'm just gonna, like I said, make it about myself. I'm 30, single, mom. My fucking checkered past is all over Instagram. You know what I mean? I have people like you who are, she's a hoe, she's literally known for this. Okay. So what would be your advice to people like me then?
But I don't believe in grey area. I believe black and white. So
okay, well, that's unfortunate, because there's gray.
I don't believe in grey area.
There's gray in life.
Do you know what?
To answer, wait, I'm going to answer. I mean, I just think there's consequences for your decisions. And I just think like my best advice would be to like lower your standards like that, because I just think there's going to be consequences for putting, you know, promiscuous stuff on the internet.
That's a fact, man. You cannot go out here, have a past, right, where you're publicly known for having encounters with multiple celebrities, then you got a baby by another celebrity, and then you expect the man to go out here, work hard, right? Put himself in position to be able to attract a woman that want that kind of guy, right? To be that top tier guy to take you in with your promiscuous past and your baggage of having a child. Absolutely not. You're gonna have to lower your standards at this point. You had a baby, right? That dropped your market value. Then you went out, had a promiscuous past with multiple different celebrities. That dropped your market value. Then guess what? The last thing, but not least, you in your 30s. At this point, you're not qualified for a guy of top tier. You already gave your best up already. He had to become the best. He's looking for the best. Your best is out the door. This reality, this is the consequences that come with promiscuity. But let's continue.
Okay.
And you probably won't get the type of guy that you could have got at 22.
Do you know what, sister?
It wasn't meant to be then.
Do you know what I'll tell you? I would say, because I'm 30 and I'm single out of a situation that actually is not because I was a hoe and I was doing whatever. People can't call me that. I made it by decision to be with somebody that hurt me a lot, and I stayed for 5 years. I came out super late. And do you know what I realized?
And that was your fault. You dealt with a guy that done that much damage to you. If he hurt you the way you say he did, it's two sides of a story. But let's play hypothetical. Say you're correct about what you're saying. You chose to stay and deal with it for 5 years. That is your fault. Self-accountability. But let's continue.
What I learned is that I know now that I have to be selective and I have to think. If me taking longer to get to that stage is what it takes, then that's what it takes. You accept your future, you accept everything with gratitude, because as long as you're breathing, that's the most important thing. At least you've got your child. I am not afraid because I know the quality of woman that I am. I know my value regardless of whether I'm 30, 40, 50. Yeah. Do you understand? So you don't be afraid by other people's time limits and limitations and all of these things, because it actually doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why.
No, but your value goes down as you get older.
That's according to you.
No, but I'm saying to men, and you have to understand.
No, it's not according to Pearl. It's according to man, like Pearl said. Pearl be speaking facts, man. It's the truth. You listen. Your value is determined by the men. All the men that you want. Men are what? The consumer of the beauty. So if these guys don't deem you as being having a high level of sexual market value, then that means your sexual market value isn't high. You can't be delusional and go off what you think and what you feel. It's the market for men and women. You're in a long-term relationship. You're 30 plus years old. You're extremely masculine. And then you talking about you don't need a man. What man that built himself up is going to deal with a woman like that? Let's continue.
I'll tell you why. Because since Mr. Andrew Tate explained something about status, I understand very well what that actually means. And as a woman, the quality and the value that I hold for myself is actually the kind of value and quality that a man will appreciate the status it will bring to him, whether or not I'm a virgin. Because I've worked on myself to be a woman of quality and substance. I respect myself and I handle myself as such. Okay? And that is the way that you're going to actually overcome all of these bad mistakes that you've made, because who you are right now actually will make a difference if you stick to it and if you mean it and if you've always been that way. There's always another story for everybody. It doesn't matter.
Listen, like Myra Gaines say all the time, women care about a man's future, men care about a woman's past. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But let's continue.
You're fine. Do you know just got somebody that's more emotionally mature.
Do you know what I would have said to you?
What are you about to say, Andrew? Because you just started speaking.
I want to say
Andrew. She said
Andrew. I want to hear. I really because you've been through a lot in your life. When she told me that you were going to be on and we were going to be on this panel together, I started watching a bunch of your videos, and it really was like there's so much that you have been through, which is why you have a well of wisdom, right? And the difference between me and you is that you're glorified for it, and I am burned at the stake for everything that I've been through. And it's so funny because people have always said that we were two sides of the same coin, as far as like, well, if Andrew Tate gets banned, Brittany Renner should get banned, because we are all about accountability.
No. Y'all are not on the same sides of the coin, two sides of the coin. No. Andrew is a successful, highly respected man who talks about the truth. You, on the other hand, you built your career off being promiscuous, different athletes and different celebrities and entertainers. Y'all are not on the same side of the coin. That's big cap. But let's continue.
And fucking truth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been through a lot. I've been through a lot. I'm seen as used goods. You're seen as a high value man.
Yep.
So if you're me, then what? What's next?
Yeah, it's really interesting. And it's interesting you make that observation, and you are correct. That's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. It's unfair, I guess. The world's not fair, but that's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. Men are respected for going through things and surviving, and women are the complete opposite. They're shamed for going through things and surviving. If you look at women love scars on men for a reason. He's gone through something. They're lived.
War wounds.
Yeah, they're war. Men don't want a chick covered in scars. I'll say this right now, that a woman, the more trauma she goes through, the more masculine she naturally becomes. And if you were to give me my ideal woman, I would not have wanted her to have a hard life and a bunch of trauma. I like the idea of her having a soft feminine life and being a soft person, and I can take care of her and protect her. Whereas as a man, to be a good man, you need to have been through a bunch of trauma, because if you haven't been through trauma as a man, you're a weakling. You have to have been through a bunch of shit. So the masculine and the feminine is a very interesting point there. As for, I don't know your history, I don't know the past, but we can just talk in generalizations in regards to
People like me, I guess, under the same umbrella. It doesn't have to be personal.
I don't know any of it, but we'll give generalizations. One of the main reasons that men are scared of a female with history is because it makes the man insecure. And scared dogs bite. So this is why men will snap or get angry quick, or they'll bring up if you get in an argument with him, he'll bring up your history, whatever. But a lot of it is insecurity, and it's not insecurity because the man is insecure. The female paradigm in society convinces men, any man who says anything, you're insecure. It's not insecure in that way. It's insecure in a very realistic, logical way. Like I was saying earlier, she's had a lot of life experience. Let's be honest. Am I the richest guy she's ever had? No. Am I the most famous guy she's ever had? No. Am I the best looking guy she's ever had? No. Like, what's keeping her here? And then part of it comes down to, well, am I second place? If she could do better, would she do better? Like, there's a whole bunch of insecurity involved. And that's where tiny things, like I know it sounds like dumb shit, tiny things about the favorite car brand become more important than ever, right? It's your job as a woman, regardless of how much sexual history you've had or what guy you're with, etc. It's your job as a woman to make your man feel secure in the fact and make him feel like a man, like Auntie was saying, make him feel like the man no matter what he does, so that he feels like you really, truly believe he's the best choice for you on the planet. That's your job to do. Now, if you've had a checkered past, that's perhaps more difficult. You need to be more tactful with it, more tactical about it. But you have to achieve the same result. You have to do the exact same thing, right? So, yeah. It's easy for me if I get a 21-year-old virgin from some village in Slovakia and I'm multimillionaire Andrew Tate. Of course, it's a very easy. She's never had better. She'll never get better. She's never been anywhere. Boom, boom, easy one, right? But like you said, the world's not so idealistic. The reality is that people have had relationships, et cetera, et cetera. But a man is happiest in the relationship when he feels like man of the house and when he truly feels like you believe he's the best man that you could possibly ever get and have ever gotten. Because a man is jealous. I'll tell you something. I used to say this to girls as like a joke. And I used to say, truth and jest. I used to say, no, but I say it's a joke. I say, you cheated on me before I met you. And she'd be like, what do you mean? I didn't even know you. It's like, yeah, you fucked that guy before I even knew you. You cheated on me. And they used to laugh, whatever. But that's how men think. That's the male mind. Like, I love you. And you've been fucked by who? But I didn't know you. I don't care if you knew me. You should have waited. What do you mean? But that's the male mind. So he is in competition with all of your exes and all of your lifestyle and all the things you've done permanently. And it's down to you as a woman to sit there and go, how do I make him secure in himself and secure in his masculinity and make him believe that investing in me is still worthwhile because I still truly value him, despite the fact that I could do X, Y, Z. I hope that gives some clarity, but that's the answer.
So how do you know what I would have said? I would have said, oh, for anybody in that situation, come off social media and just raise your child. So the person who meets you's got nothing to. Like, I never knew you. I never knew who you were because I've never heard of you before. So when I spoke to you, but the way the way you're saying like what's on the internet, let me just say, you're a nicer person than what you sound like what you perceive to be. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, oh, that Pearl's got, oh, there, she's a whore, and I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about you. And I was saying that if you didn't have nothing on social media about your checkered past, and you met somebody the same way how I met you and I conversed and I got to know you, is the same way that they would.
Yeah, and it is interesting, and it's also back to the masculine and feminine, right? Because I'm all over the internet, and supposedly I'm misogynist and I'm evil and all this crap, right? But if I meet a girl, even if she disagrees with me, in fact, I'll say this. I've never, ever met a single female who's ever come up to me and disagreed with me. Every woman comes up to me and loves what I says. But let's imagine I met this imaginary girl. She was sitting with me. And if I were to have a 10-minute conversation with her, by the time I explained the level to which they tried to destroy me, how they tried to freeze all my bank accounts, raise illegal charges against me, put me in jail for things I didn't do, put a travel ban, take my passport, all this garbage. By the time I explain how hard they tried to hurt me and failed, she'll want me. Because she'll be like, you can't kill this guy. And that's going to be it. Like, you say a bunch of shit I don't like, but you know what? You're the man. So it is about experience, and it is different. And that's a really good point about social media. Social media amplifies all of this shit. It amplifies all these problems. Everything we're discussing, everything we've discussed back to the beginning, from status to promiscuity to your past, it's all social media. Without social media, a lot of it goes away.
Yeah. And I think that's why me and my man last so long, is that he doesn't do social media, and there's nothing on there about me.
I feel like, to answer your question too, because I have had people say that as a solution, and it's like, you can run, but you cannot hide from the truth. And I have shared why my voice has been so impactful and will continue to be impactful is because I have put myself out there and I have been punished for being honest. So it's like, I have been given a platform and a voice for a reason. Even sitting down in this conversation thinking there's not one person I'm probably going to agree with and probably going to want to leave, I have been called here for a reason. So it's like, I can't go against what is in my heart and what I am coded to be. And that's why I feel like it's important for me to sit here and represent people who feel like me, because it's like, I don't want to say I didn't choose. I don't even want to say that. I just feel like I don't see a lot of women under my umbrella who feel the way that I feel. I don't see opinions shared that would be worded the way that I feel. Nothing. I feel like a lot of my thoughts are very unique, and it's kind of scary because I have been through different things. I see the world in a different place, and when I even speak online, people think I'm fucking speaking Swahili.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and I know exactly what you're saying, and you're making good points. And it's just, I think that regardless of whether, like, we're talking about different positions. I compare everything to chess. I know it's annoying. We're looking at different positions on the chessboard, but the rules are still the same, right? Okay. No matter how bad your position is or how good your position is, you're still trying to achieve the same objectives. And you want the man to get high status, and you want the man to feel secure in himself. And I think it's very difficult. I can only talk from the male perspective because I am a man. It is very difficult. If I were to meet a woman who I liked very much, but she had X whatever, past whatever. My concerns would be, how do I know that I'm still the number one? How do I know I'm most important in her life, especially if I don't measure up in certain key metrics? And two, the second thing that's most scary for men is we understand that men are constantly after what we have. Like, your inboxes are all full. Like, they may not be with guys you want to reply to, but guys are still trying to get it. That's the male life. The male life is people are trying to take everything from me. And that's very scary, and you have to make your man really believe like that's impossible. If a man truly believes that nobody can take you from him, he's going to love you in a different way.
Heard what he just said? I hope a lot of females caught this. If a man believes that nobody can take you away from him, he'll love you in a different way. That dude is spitting straight facts. Because women got to understand that. When you make a man know that he is the number one choice, nobody can take you away from him. It say he can get that from you when you got the most negotiating power. That's a win. That dude cooking right now, man. Let's continue.
You can give me two carbon copies of the same chick, but one I think might cheat in the right circumstances, and one I know no matter what would never leave me. The love I'll feel for this one is a different planet to the love I feel for this one, even though they're the same person, right? Because that's every man's biggest fear, is a woman cheating or leaving, because there's something visceral and something different about it. I know I talk things and I say men can do things and women can't and all this stuff, but they're like, if a woman cheats on a man, that hurts the man at a level that it doesn't hurt the woman if the man cheats on her. It's different. It's different biologically. It's different evolutionarily. Like, that's what men used to fight and die over. You talk to my chick. You look at my chick. His
dick off.
Yeah, it's like you demasculinize him on every level. Like, and this is why you see these TikToks, right? You see these TikToks. Me and my man went on a break, got back together. He fucked 20 girls, and now he's crying because I went on a date. Yes, completely yes. Because the damage level is different. It's just a different thing. So you have to understand the paradigms. You have to understand to play the game, and that's how you make men happy. And I know very well how. I like to believe that I would know very well how to make a woman happy. And I know, and whether I do that or not is a conscious decision. And that's where you get to a certain level of grandmastery, where if I get a woman, I will literally decide out of 10, how happy do I want her? Does she deserve to be happy 10? Or should I keep her like crying half the time? That it's very conscious, and women don't think that way. But I'm saying if you're a cunning woman, you could be like that. You could be a bit more like, you know what? I want him infatuated with me. This guy ain't worth the time. That guy I want. And then when you're going to do that, just like the game of chess, if you play chess, it's not big moves that make you lose. It's small positional plays. It's that time you argued about your favorite car. It's the time you disagreed with him about the favorite band. It's the dumb shit that adds up. Whereas really, truthfully, if you're truly smart about the game, you can get him to a point after a few months where he's like, she's my soulmate. She loves everything I love. We think the same. Our hearts are connected. Boom. And then you're safe. Just don't fuck it up from there. That's the game.
But I just feel like it's so contradicting to feel like what your overall message is, which is about truth. So it's like if my truth, like if it can be destroyed by the truth, it should be destroyed by the truth. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like why it's really mind-boggling to me, because I feel like how could you even be mentally, emotionally, sexually stimulated by a woman who is just agreeable and it just doesn't have her own mind. I just don't see that.
That is exactly what every man wants. We don't want you to be complete robots. We're not saying we can't have a joke with you. We can't say we can't have a laugh with you. We're not saying you can't have a personality. But when it comes to things like agreement, there is not a single man in the world who's going to say she's too agreeable. She just agrees with me on it. She agrees with me on all the important things in my life. She's too agreeable. I want someone else. Fuck no. You're completely and utterly wrong on that point. It's a huge point. This idea that, I understand if you're a complete doormat and you set no standards, men might walk all over you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about agreeability and agreeableness as a whole. Men love the idea of an agreeable woman because it gives status and it makes the man feel like he's a teacher and it makes the man feel in charge and it satisfies his ego. And to you, they may be small, little, tiny points, but to him, they're a big deal. If I were to sit, I'm telling you right now, if I were to sit with one of my chicks or whatever, or my chick, and I'll just sit in the Lambo and say, Lambo's the best car of all of them. I prefer the Lambo. And she goes, I don't like that one. Da, da, da. I'm like, listen, I bought them all, and I fucking said this is the best one. Shut up. And it would annoy me because that's my reality. I want her to become part of my reality. It's the thing. And you talk about truth. It's interesting because the truth of your heart and the truth of your soul is to be happy. That's truth. Truth is for you to end up happy. Now, if you have to sit there and agree on a, especially on a subject you don't give a fuck about, right? If it's something you care about and you are very knowledgeable about, if it's ancient Roman history and you have a degree in ancient Rome, then fine, argue the point. But if it's cars or something you don't even give a shit about, you're missing the chance to get points on the scoreboard, an easy free throw, and you're just fucking it up going, why? What? The truth is just play the game and win. That's the truth.
Andrew could be the best female dating.
Or just learn a couple of words like how many talks, horsepower. Yeah, just throw some words in like how much horsepower has it got?
That's it.
Tate, with all due respect, not all men are like that. Some men respect a woman that has her own mind. I know you and the type of men that you're speaking on behalf of.
Let me tell you something.
Like a woman that
I understand.
Will just be so agreeable to everything he says. But like I've dated men that just respect that I can make decisions and will actually
submissive women have their own mind.
Yeah, completely. That's the first
there's
point.
sometimes that he might be discussing stuff that he might want to be discussed. Completely. And there's sometimes we're like, shut the fuck up and let me say what I've got to say.
Yes, completely.
And maybe, I don't even believe in star signs, but my man's a Sagittarius. So all this illogical stuff and feelings and emotions and no, you don't cry about shit. Shut up, get on with it. Your head's big, get on with it.
Completely. And submissive women have their own mind, but this is something else you have to take into consideration. And this is super important and super true. The reason a lot of women don't truly understand a lot of things about relationships and how it works with men, etc., is because men will lie to you. Men lie for the same reason you wear makeup, because men fall in love with what they see. Men fall in love with what they see, and women fall in love with what they hear. So we will lie to you. So you'll go on a date with a guy, and you'll sit there and say, I don't listen to no, I'm independent, da-da-da. And what's that man going to say?
Oh, I love that.
That's exactly the kind of woman I want. Come suck this. It's a fucking lie. That is not what he wants. It's not what he wants. I'm telling you the truth of what he wants. Yeah, he can't be bothered to argue with you at dinner because he doesn't. And you know what? Most men aren't smooth enough to do it. I can sit with a chick and disagree with her and be funny enough and smart enough and charismatic enough and I'm high status enough and she respects me enough to listen. But if I'm just some normal dude and I start arguing with a chick, she's gonna bounce on the dinner and say "fuck you."
Yeah.
See ya. So most dudes' dating strategy, most dudes' mating strategy is just pure agreement. Yeah. Anything to get the puss because they're fucking dorks. That's fine. That's the truth, right? A real G will sit there and say, what do you mean? I don't want to hear this shit. I'm telling you the baseline of how men truly function. If I'm expected to fight and die to protect you, because that's what is expected of me by society and of you. You may think you don't expect that of me, but if we're walking down through London in the middle of the night and two guys come up with machetes, you're going to hide behind me, knowing I'm going to die because I can't win this fight. I'm expected to die to protect you. Well, then I expect you to agree with me. I'm not here to fucking die for somebody who disagrees with me on everything. That's not what I'm here to fucking... If I have that obligation to die on the spot for you, you have the obligation to pretend you like BMWs. So do your fucking part and shut up. And that's the bottom line of it.
And you know the difference is, the only difference, like he's top G, and I'll say, the only difference between him and my man and the level of respect is money. That's the only difference.
And this is
the same way he talks, the same way he is.
I don't listen to my man.
But people say like, oh, my man only owns 40,000, so he can't talk to me the way Andrew Tate talks to his. Why not?
Completely.
No, I think money is a big factor though. Because,
no, it's not.
In a beautiful relationship.
You can't have a woman that's paying her own bills. She's doing everything for herself.
I mean,
but you wanted to be independent, pay your own bills, and do everything for yourself. Nobody asked you to do that. That is a life that you built for yourself. Women rarely share their resources with men. So a lot of times, a man on a certain level, especially, they don't care about a woman's money. I don't care about females' money. It holds no weight in our life. They don't, a lot of times, I'm not saying all, a lot of times they rarely share their resources with you. And when they do, they have to be invested in you. We'll just say that. A woman has to be invested in you to some degree before she starts sharing her resources with you. That's just what it is. And she think in her mind that just because you're not top G, like Andrew Tate, that you're not supposed to get respect from a woman. You're not supposed to be able to get submission. This is part of the reason why I tell you guys about passports and stuff like that, because a lot of these women will tell you that if you don't have X amount of status and make X amount of dollars, that you're not supposed to get a woman that respects herself, that's not promiscuous, and a woman that's going to follow your lead. Absolutely not. But let's continue.
The man.
And then you're going to tell her,
of course, but I'm saying,
do this. But you're different.
Do you not work, Auntie
She
Jenny?
doesn't need to work. You take all that stress away from her.
I don't work.
Then she'll be a lot more.
Why does money have to matter for submission?
That's what I mean. I don't work.
If you have enough money to make sure that she doesn't need to work, go and deal with her boss every day, deal with all this stress, all these bills, then of course she's going to.
Listen,
that's not submission. That's conditional. That's conditional submission, right? That's not submission right there. A submissive woman is submissive. It don't be, oh, you know what? I'm going to be disagreeable with you right now, but if you're going to make $300,000, then I'll be submissive to you. No, absolutely not. That's not cooperation. But let's continue.
Look up to you and be like, okay, he pays my bills. You know,
my man must own about 40,000. I don't work.
I'm like, I grew up in a 1% family. I never expected a dude to pay for everything. I don't know.
I don't.
But I still think, like, and I just like both of my parents worked, but my mom still submitted to my dad. Like, it wasn't.
The point is this, and
that's how it is a lot of times in the white community, Pearl. That the mom will still submit to the man even though she's working. A lot of people in that culture is raised to do so. In the black culture, a lot of them don't have the mom in the house. The father in the house. And they taught to be independent. So it's going to be a lot of kickback and fight for them to want to submit to you. You got to be some superb guy of all that's rare of all men for them to act submissive to you. That's just how it is. But let's continue.
Every relationship that's beautiful, every relationship that's happy, regardless of the socioeconomic scale, regardless of how rich or poor they are, regardless of how famous they are, regardless of how whatever. In every relationship where people are truly happy, pay attention. The man is in charge. He's the top G of that house. His woman makes him feel that way. She respects him for what he does, and they are happy. We're talking about me out here in the world, social media, whatever. It doesn't matter. Every man wants to be the man of his household, the king of his castle. Every single happy relationship is the same. I genuinely implore you to name a happy relationship where the woman's in charge. Name one. You can't. They end up broken up. She leaves him. Whatever. Name a happy relationship where the woman doesn't blindly say, okay, I won't go to that concert. Name one. There is only one framework in which people are happy. With the man in charge, the woman trusts and respects him enough to let him be in charge, and they're a happy couple in relationship. Any other type of relationship is a time bomb to the end. So if you That's what you should be aiming for. You need to be perspicacious enough and think about these things and sit and go, well, that's the only way relationships work. So I need to build it that way.
I think
instead of coming along and believing you're going to reinvent the wheel.
Hey, I can't lie, man. Pearl put that together real well. Andrew Tate, Brittany Renner, you had Auntie on the show. Man, that was a great episode, man. Andrew dropped some Jews. I hope these women was paying attention, and I hope your men was paying attention. But listen, y'all, man, be on your purpose, be on your grind, get your money on point, get your mind on point, get your body on point, and last but not least, get your passport so you can travel the world. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Listen, like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to the channel on the road to 1K subscribers. Listen, y'all, the more I get from y'all, the more I can give y'all. Tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell another friend. Look, I'll see you in the next video. I'm out.
Yeah, got the streets on fire, feel the heat, the Wayne way. Ain't never had no handouts, put in work, I'm self-made. Superhero strength, I got the power, Luke Cage. Flexing on them haters like Drake, this is real